at this play again, Scott.
Well, it was really a great block by Mark Moonves. He did a great job of utilizing McGuffey's speed.
Well, Matt Eller not quite ready to give up 3 minutes into the game. 48-yard field goal, 7-3 Illinois. But Michigan responds, comes back with a 60-yard drive of its own. Here, Threet Odom's another 27-yard game. We take a look again. Threet steps up in the pocket, steps up into the blitz, gets nailed, but still completes a pass to Odoms. Things looked very good at this point for Michigan, especially after this next play. One of the heroes of the Wisconsin game, Kevin Koger. The Koger special once again. Touchdown Michigan. Everyone's happy. Called back on the same penalty that Travis Beckham got called on in that 2-point conversion. But no matter. Next play, Greg Matthews in the corner of the end zone to fade. Koger's there to celebrate. At least he didn't catch the touchdown pass. And look at it again from a different angle. Threet just lays it up there. Matthews wide open. Gets the 1 foot in. 14-3 Michigan. But the defense was burned by long passes all day long. There's really a spin. I could have caught that one, folks. Wide open. Gets all the way down to the Michigan 20. Then just a few plays later, one of the best option quarterback reads I've ever seen in my life. Everyone was confused. Every cameraman thought that Dufresne got the ball here, the Illinois running back. Instead, it was Juice Williams. The Michigan defense was confused too. 14-10. And then this big screenplay, again, Dufresne, 57 yards for the touchdown, missed tackles left and right, 17-14. The Illini's first lead of the game. They go into halftime with a 17-14 lead. And guys, Michigan was up 14-3 at one point in this game, and you see the lead evaporate very quickly. 17-14. Total yards about even. Big stat there. No turnovers for Michigan, but still, they cannot go into halftime with a lead, Scott.
Well, they can. It was really frustrating because they looked so good in that first quarter. They were moving the ball well, and they were stopping the run and stopping the pass in a lot of different cases. But they, you're right. They just couldn't hold on to it in the second quarter. Disappointing.
I mean, yeah, I was pretty excited. We came out well, something that we haven't done at all this year. I mean, something that Alex has continually said over and over every week. So it was great to see us come out, good. The offense was working well. We had some really good drives. I was feeling pretty good at this point.
Right, but even despite being down 3 points, you thought there was a couple things that Michigan maybe could adjust. There's maybe a couple things that they could change, especially when we talk about Aurelius Ben Scott lining up in that slot position.
It was really amazing that Aurelius Ben, it was well known he was their best wide receiver coming in, but you look, every single play it seems they had a linebacker or a safety lined up on him. And Illinois really took that into their advantage, and Aurelius Ben had very big plays in the first half for him, as well as throughout the game.
One thing that we were talking about before the show that I mentioned, I don't know how relevant it is exactly, but we saw the defense need to make adjustments here, something that they haven't really had to do as much in prior games. It was more the offense other times when they were struggling, fumbles, inconsistency in that nature. And now the defense had to come up and make their changes, and they didn't really do it.
Yeah, well, you look at, this is a true story. I kid you not, Scott. We're standing in line for the bathroom before the game. We talked about the keys of the game. One guy in front of us had turnovers. Obviously, always a very important thing. Big Achilles heel of this Michigan team. But what did I say is the key to the game was, Scott?
Alex, you said the key to the game was containing Juice Williams.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. No, but to Scott's credit, he said the passing game too, and both things in the second half came to fight the Michigan defense with a vengeance. Let's go to the second half highlights. They're not pretty, folks. Here, right off the bat, 3rd and 10. It looks like the Michigan defense can get a big stop, maybe come back in this game. It's only 14-17 at this point, but a huge pass to John Cumberland by Juice Williams, 77 yards. Andy, what happened on this play?
I mean, all you saw was Cumberland beat Donovan Warren, and then, Charles Stewart went for the ball instead of playing the receiver, and you had a touchdown, 77 yards, only catch of the day.
24-14 for Illinois at that point, and then Michigan 3 and out. Juice finds Ben here for a big play. Touchdown, 34-14, everything's going terribly. But wait, block in the back, and then speaking of blocks, blocked field goal. Yeah, another blocked field goal for this Michigan team. Don't see that very often with this team. But then, disaster strikes. Stephen Threet, Michael Shaw. We'll take another look. No, didn't catch the ball, and Rich Rod is not very happy. That scares me. I would be very scared if that man was yelling at me with that look on his face. Here, Juice, option to the right to Jason Ford, touchdown, 31-14. But can Michigan come back? It's only 17. We did 19 last week. Here, Octavius Odoms, we called him all day. Again, 7 catches, 129 yards. Huge day. Michigan looks like they might be figuring something out. Here, a little trickeration by Michigan themselves. Everyone goes left. Threet and Moondress go right. 2-yard touchdown pass. Can we come back? Got about the juice, folks. 50-plus yard run on this play. It sets up another touchdown. Again, that was 3rd down conversion. 3rd and 2, 50 yards does the trick. And then option left, touchdown, Illinois. Michael LaShore running it in there. And just a little bit of insult to injury, down by 18. Not much of a hope to come back. Octavius Odoms, who again, great game. Otherwise, forgot the football. Illinois recovers, puts that last touchdown, cherry on top. Juice Williams, and his statistics, folks, were ridiculous. Most total yards in the history of Big House history, rather. He had 446 of their 501 total yards of offense. Aurelius Ben, not a bad day, 6 receptions, 122 yards. You look at Michigan, Stephen Threet, his stats don't look so bad. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, but again, 5 fumbles for Michigan. Only 2 of them lost. But Scott, the fumbles really the big bugaboo for this Michigan team. They continue to be when they had the opportunity to maybe come back, and it just didn't happen.
The fumbles really were a problem, Allison. It really looked like they had it under control in that first half. But you look at the second half, they really struggled a little more. They not only did they fumble a little bit, but they struggled finding the rhythm in the second half, and that was really the problem because they just couldn't match Illinois punch for punch in the second half, Andy.
You know, what I was trying to think about, especially with this fumble issue, which keeps coming up week after week, is there an answer that we can give our viewers? Honestly, I mean, I see it's something as the team that just needs to get together and they need to really pound out a way to get over this fumbleitis, so to speak.
Well, fumbleitis is one term for it, but as Rich Rod said in his press conference, if you didn't think we hired a guy from West Virginia, you knew we hired a guy from West Virginia after this quote. I ain't seen nothing like it. That's what he. Those are the words he used to describe Michigan's fumbling problems, and I suppose that fits pretty well. But and let's talk. This whole year, Andy, it seemed as though it was always a tale of two halves. Michigan in the first half was just a whole lot for dear life. Second half, we're going to adjust both on the offensive and defensive side. Big comeback from Michigan. Is it enough to overcome the opposing team, whatever deficit Michigan had going into halftime? But you didn't see defensive adjustments in this game, and it didn't seem like you saw any offensive adjustments either. I
mean, I blame the coaching in this instance. I mean, I really don't see what they did at all coming into the second half. There was absolutely no adjustments. The offense was working well in the first half. However, like I said, the defense, they hadn't really needed to adjust that much before. And, I mean, that showed, considering they did nothing to fix the problem with the release Ben coming out of the slot with Juice Williams rushing out of the backfield. There's just something that, we don't have an answer right now, I guess.
Yeah, in 2 or 3 games in the season, Scott, there was some ridiculous statistic that the Michigan defense hadn't given up a point in the third quarter for, the first, like I said, 3 or 4 games. But of course, that wasn't the case on Saturday.
And give Illinois some credit. Their offensive line played very well. They give Juice Williams a lot of time to play with. But when you have players like John Thompson and Brandon Harrison and Charles Stewart trying to guard one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, it doesn't matter how much time because the Aurelius Ben could get open very fast on them. And that was an adjustment they really needed to do. If they just switched to a nickel package, they could have probably contained Aurelius Ben, but they just didn't do that in the second half. And I just couldn't believe it.
Well, and what's interesting is, speaking of these, the 2 biggest, receivers in this game, the slot receivers, Odoms and Ben, very similar statistics. I mean, Odoms hurt them just as much as Ben, hurt the Michigan team. And, let's talk about Martavis Odoms. I mean, he has that fumble on the kickoff return that kind of ruins all the goodwill that, he built throughout the game. But it really seems like it's just this freshman who almost went to Notre Dame. And, on the sideline of that Notre Dame game, I heard people just over and over, man, I can't believe that Michigan beat us out for this game, because he had a great game against Notre Dame, too. I mean, has he arrived? Is Odoms the man now? Is he the number 1 receiver on this Michigan team? Or at least Street's go-to man?
Number 1 receiver, I don't know, because as much as you want to complain about Michigan's defensive secondary, Illinois was doing the same thing. They were matching linebackers and safeties up on Odoms all day, so he was free a lot. But he also ran some very good routes, and you can tell that Odoms and Threet have a very good connection with each other.
Yeah, and what about Odoms and Threet, Andy?
I feel like they definitely are starting to develop somewhat of a repertoire. I mean, Greg Matthews would be, the stereotypical, what we would call number 1 receiver for Michigan. But, I mean, you really could see Odoms, picking up some of that slack over